Epic Gaming Night is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Arcana, and with me as always is Matt.
Hello.
Hola, amigo.
Yeah.
And Robert Newman, the famous
Newman.
author Robert Newman.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, when I saw that picture today, I was like, that's the best. When did that happen? You didn't tell me.
That happened shortly actually after you left. Liz bought a copy of my book. And she met up with me. She was trying to find me. She wanted me to sign.
That's the
sign
best.
her
That's
copy.
awesome.
So that was amazing. And
Shout
then,
out to Liz Hype.
Yeah.
Well, then speaking of that, so then Sunday night I actually had a book signing and Q&A in Deland that my dad had set up. And so then I drove straight home after that. So I drove from after gaming all day Saturday, slept for a few hours, got to my dad's, and then I left around 9 o'clock Sunday night, and I got into my house literally at 4:59. I pulled into the driveway.
Whoa. And did you work today too, I'm guessing? You were probably super behind. Wow.
No, I mean, I slept for, my kids let me sleep till like 9:30. So that was nice. So I got like 3.5 hours of sleep because I finally fell asleep right before 5:30, but I slept on the couch because I don't want to wake up everybody else. But
we literally have the crew in chat. What up?
Yeah. So anyway, but I had a good time. So just long day. I'm really tired, and so I'm drinking a lot of coffee, even though it's like stupid hot outside.
Oh, yeah. Why is it hotter here than it was any time we were in Florida? Can anybody explain that to me?
That doesn't
I don't
make
know,
any
man. That
sense.
first day in Florida, that Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's talk
that's
about
true.
parking in Florida.
Just
Parking
cars in general.
Terrible.
Oh, at that hotel? Yeah,
Yes.
we're fixing that next year. It's a big deal.
This was the worst year, man.
Oh, man, it was really bad. Like, literally, there was nowhere to park. Just
Nowhere.
And that's
you
another
fixing
problem. Is
that?
like, there was nowhere to eat at that hotel. And if you left, you lose your seat. Move your feet, lose your seat.
Yeah. The day I played Game of Thrones, that game, I kept texting the guy, I'm here. I'm just trying to find a parking spot. Took me almost a half an hour to get a parking spot.
Dude, there's
I
like the
almost parked on the
place
grass.
over like where there was like it doesn't even matter now. But yeah, there was a place that's like in a
Nope,
fenced in
that was
area.
full. The overflow lot.
That
where
was
they're
full
doing the
too?
construction.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Yeah, that was.
And it
that
was like, if you went back where I had parked, back by the villas and stuff, it was like, you would go through there, and it was just like, the entire street, the entire way was just lined down with cars, and then it was parking spaces, and then any place that had a curb was just more cars.
More cars. But I'm with Adam. I did eat a lot at that salad bar, the 24/7 cafe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I talked to my
I
wife,
did take
I was
Adam
like,
to the Waffle House one day though.
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Waffle
Don't-
House hype.
don't look at how much I spent this weekend.
Just
Just-
on crappy food.
On just pre-made salad. Or not even,
Something
well,
like-
you got to build your own.
Yeah, just
Build your own
don't
stuff.
pay attention to that.
Well,
I've got
good
sales
news. I went and saw the new venue for next year, and I'm actually really stoked. Like,
Yeah?
it's at the Florida Mall, and it's at this place called the Florida Hotel, and it's a big hotel. There's lots of space and stuff. There's gonna be like 3 different gaming rooms. It's gonna be really awesome. But it's connected to a mall that has an awesome food court, and there's like a Starbucks in the hotel, but it's like a big Starbucks. Like there's like lots of stuff there, and it's like, holy crap! Like you can just walk to things. This will be amazing. And the thing that like made me so stoked was that when we were looking at the hotel, we're like, okay, well, let's go look at the mall real quick or go get some lunch in the food court before we hit the road back down to Miami. And I walk out, and the very first thing that's like right there when you walk out of the hotel was conveyor belt sushi, like just going around and around and around in the middle of the mall. And I was like, what? This is amazing. And I'm like, if that place, like, I hope their business model is good enough to last an entire year, because I want to eat that place before it goes out of business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that would be great. And it does give me hope.
But yeah, they
Because
had
that was
like
one thing this year. Like, I bought some games and stuff, and we'll talk about those.
Yeah.
And but man, like the food this year, I spent a lot of money on food this year.
right, and that's the way it was last year. And I was like, ugh. I bought one of the pizzas there, and I ate that for 2 meals, but it was still like $13 for like a tiny little pizza, you know?
Yeah, and then plus tax and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was good. The location, I mean, the convention hall is great. It's huge. It's a lot of space. It offers a lot of stuff. So I mean, I don't want to down them too bad, but yeah, just parking.
Yeah, for sure.
Parking and driving. So, what'd you guys do this past week?
Well, we went to Dice Tower Con.
Dice Tower Con, what's that? That sounds great.
It was crazy. I know you were busy because you were running back and forth, spending lots of time with family as well. I went to Dice Tower Con, and I took my family to Dice Tower Con, and they spent the entire time at Disney World, and I spent the entire time at a convention. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did do a lot of running around between family and then doing the Void, which I still have not got my score.
I don't think you're going to get it.
I don't think
Oh,
I'll get
what?
it.
They didn't
I don't
update
think
it?
it's coming.
Maybe it's because
No,
your score
if
was
we were
too
still
high.
there, I'd get a free score. I'd get a free playthrough because I'm like, this is not what I experienced. Blah 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 blah. I'd work it. Jordan was trying to work it. Man,
They didn't give anybody their scores at the end?
no.
I think Kent
Adam's
Courtney
team
got
and Kent's team and Courtney and Adam's son, they all got their scores. Who are amazing, by the way. They're all good.
Was it
people.
just because, like, y'all were too high? Like, it was the highest score
No,
they've ever
they
seen?
broke the machine twice, and so they had to reset it literally. Somebody broke the door, and then somebody else's gun and pack wouldn't work and stuff like that. So
And then they went in one time
they had
and there
to literally
just wasn't a
reboot
gun.
the system from. And because we went before them, I think it messed up our stuff. Because
Okay.
we were like we were there because I love Kent and Courtney, but they wanted to make sure we got a good spot in line, so we were the first ones there.
It could have been me because I'm always used to like coming out of a ride and somebody's like, "Do you want to see your pictures?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't," because it's usually like, "Hey, do you want to spend $25 for like a little 4x8 or like a 4x5?" And I'm just like, "Nah." So I just immediately said no, and then she was just like, "Cool." So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but apparently they were just free. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Is what I get for assuming.
But anyway, it was a good time. I feel like we would have won. If they were able to show us the scores. But Dice Tower Con, man, it's still probably my favorite con. I just love it. I love that you play games all day. Like, that's all you do.
Yep.
I love that. That's so appealing to me right now in my life to just, what do you want to do? You want to play a game? Okay.
Just chill.
Yeah.
And we played
I found myself
games. I don't know how many games you guys played, but I made a list, and I probably am missing some. I played a lot.
I played a few. I apparently I work at these things, but I actually had fun doing that too. So
You don't work.
well, I have to make sure the sound system's running and the cameras are running and everybody's happy.
No, you do work. I'm just messing.
But it was fun. I always liked going to those things anyway. So like when I get to do it, and these are always cool because you get to see a bunch of friends. I mean, we haven't seen some of these guys since last year, so it's really cool to hang out with them and play games and see everybody. And I get to see a ton of different media people, which is always fun as well.
Yeah.
Matt, did you ever get to talk to Emerson at all?
Yep. Didn't even see him.
Why didn't you text the man?
I should have. I always feel weird about texting people. I don't want to be like,
Oh yeah, I know.
"Hey, how you doing? It's me. What are you doing? Where you at? I want to talk to you." Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like the
That's
one
what
guy
I do.
Good, and he'd make you feel good about it. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you texted, Matt. I was just thinking about you. I hope you have an amazing day.
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, I know the majority of the game designers that are there. It's like, oh yeah, it's kind of a cool con thing. You can talk to people. You can play a couple of games. Like, I did get to play QE with Josh.
I never got to play QE. I'm kind of mad about that.
You
I'm
didn't
sorry.
play, Rob? Oh, dag.
No.
We can talk about
I
QE.
kept trying to like set up a situation because Crystal wanted to play Modern Art, and I was like, "Yo, we can back to back Modern Art and a QE."
There you go.
But it just never happened.
So let me describe
like-
QE for anybody out there that doesn't know. So QE is a bidding game, but So you're trying to get these different, I guess, what is it like, different economic facilities or something like that from several different countries?
It's basically, the premise of it is after the market crash, a bunch of these
You're trying to buy out these different companies, right?
Yeah, so it's just like you might buy out like an agricultural sector from the EU or something.
And basically, as your nation, you're printing money to be able to keep these companies afloat. So in this game, you can actually bid any amount you want when you're bidding for these. You can write down anything you want. The first player will start the bid, and they put up a bid that everybody can see. It's public. Everybody can see it. Then the other players all bid secretly. And they can bid either like just a little bit above the person there, or they can just blow it out of the water. Whoever is the highest bid secretly wins. The person who is the first player, they will look at all of the bids, see who is the highest. They will write it on the back of that bid like token, like factory, facility, company. I guess they're companies, right? That company, and set it down and give it to that player, but nobody else gets to see how high they actually bid on it. And then you just start the next round. You pass and you keep going. It's very set collection-ish because you're trying to, like, if you get a bunch of the same stuff, then you get extra points. If you get like one of each different type of facility, you get extra points. If you get some of the, or all the facilities have different nationalities on them, whether it be Japan or America or the EU or Canada, whatever. If you get a whole bunch of yours as opposed to the other nationalities, then you get extra points there. Also, you get bonus points at the end if you have the lowest money spent overall. The catch, so you can bid any amount you want, but the catch is if you have spent the most money at the end of the game, you're eliminated and you lose. So what do you think, Matt?
Is it the end of the game or the end of the round?
The end of the game. So it's like this, you're bidding, but the bids, what actually ends up winning is always secret, so you don't really know exactly how high everybody is with these bids. And then at the end, like, you'll have players that are like, okay, well, I could build it a lot, but if I end up bidding too much and winning it, I might end up being the top player and just getting wrecked. So what'd you think of it?
I liked it a lot. I did terribly, though.
I am in the same boat, Matt.
I didn't get to buy one property all game.
Wow.
I was playing way too conservatively, so the entire time I was sitting there and I was just like, okay, cool.
Listen, us guys that don't have any money don't know how to spend the money. You know, it's like
I'm
trying to save my pennies.
It was just one of those things that was really interesting because it's, you put out like a bid and like I think ours started off with like $500 and then it ended up being like it just kept growing and then it was eventually $1 million and then $5 million and then I was just tired and I was like I want to win one, so I threw out, I was the main guy, so I was setting down the starting bid, so I set it down for $62 million and I was like nobody's gonna bid this, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna be the one who has spent the most and we're just gonna move on with the day, and then people just bid over me and then just took it away and I was like, what in the world? So like sometimes I would double up what the initial bid was or get to do a lot of these other things and it just never worked out for me. And I was like, man,
so you couldn't even get like the very last one, you couldn't bid high enough to get it. Wow.
So like I was like, okay, I'll just bid 0 a couple of times because you can bid 0 once per round and that'll give you 2 points.
Adam says me and Ambi were playing like we were cutting coupons. That's pretty true. Yeah. We were being very like, I'm not gonna spend all of our stuff. I like the game a lot, and I like the way the game works. I feel like I would play the game completely different if I played it again. But on top of that, there's a strong like 2 players get in these really high bidding wars. And then there's other players that are left behind and end up just getting locked out of the game, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because after they had won so much, I would have to bid so high to win anything, but they were so high already, one of them was guaranteed to lose. And they were just having to figure out whether it was going to be Crystal or Adam, who was going to push it over the edge a little bit too far. And then I started bidding really high, so me and Adam were kind of like in a race. Well, at that point, Adam had way more, so and I was blowing it out of the water, but I had like no companies to show for it,
Yeah.
So it was like, well, I'm out of this game, but I might as well try to bid on things now to win a couple things. And I won a couple, but it was nowhere near enough to make it so I had the sets I needed to win.
Yeah. I didn't feel too bad because I ended up scoring like 11 points total because I bid the lowest, which was 0.
Well, if you just do nothing the entire game,
points.
Matt, you get.
Yeah. I mean, you can end with 13
6,
points from doing
7, 8,
absolutely
9,
nothing.
10,
That's
11,
pretty
12,
solid.
13. Wait, 4 rounds, right?
3 rounds.
Oh, the entire game is 3 rounds?
Yeah. Or at least
No. The entire game is 4 rounds.
Maybe we just played a shorter game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
How many people did you play with? Because I think it depends on the number of people you play with.
We played with
too.
4. How many did you play with?
We played with 5. So we had 15.
That must have shortened it.
So you probably did 4 to 16, and we did 5 to 15.
Wait, you ended the game with 11 or 12?
11 because you get 7 points for the lowest, and then I had 2.
So literally, if you had bid 0 on every single thing, you would end up with a higher score.
I could have ended with 13. Yeah. And Kent and Courtney, I think, had 20. And I was like, oh, I'm not too far from them, and they actually bought stuff. So I was like, hey, all right, cool. But it was a pretty fun game. I definitely want to play it again now that I know a bit more about the strategy to it, since I was playing way too conservatively. But it was a lot of fun, for sure.
For sure. But yeah, I liked it. I would definitely play a lot different. It would be, I would be one of those in there in the bidding war. But it's so strange. It's such a strange game. Like, it's like you have to bid a ton, but other people also have to bid a ton. But if they just let you bid too much, you could just 100% lose.
Well, it was weird because in our game, like the totals of everybody who actually bid stuff was all like $61 to $64 million. That's
a bajillion times more than. Get this, Ambi placed the bid for our first company at $10. That's the kind of game we were having.
That's solid. I mean, that's it. That's a bargain right there.
Rob's talking about all the games in chat that he played instead of gonna talk it out in a second. I'm thinking.
You guys
we're just talking about this one.
Rob, what do you think about you said you were interested in playing this one?
QED, yeah, I would love to. I love that idea of bidding, especially ridiculous bidding, where like there is no parameters like you have on Modern Art. You're subject to the money that you have. So it sounds like a lot of fun. It never worked out for me because either you guys were playing and I was playing something else, or I wasn't around or something like that. But it's one of those. I think also with the right group, it would be a lot of fun. So more fun than Concordia. But
hey, Kent wanted to play that game so bad.
Yeah, and we played it.
Aw, poor Kent. Kent, if you're out there,
it was the final game of the con.
I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't think it's a game that you would play at midnight.
Here's the thing.
Normally.
Yeah, we played late. We got done with Concordia around 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot like, the Crystal Golems or Century Spice Road and stuff, but it doesn't have any theme, and it doesn't get me as excited.
Turns fast.
What I like better about Century Spice Road is the card art and the cubes and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know, just the pace of Century Spice Road is a little bit better. And I like how Century Spice Road just focuses on the cards, where you're like in Concordia, what you're doing is you're trying to have, of course, the most points at the end of the game, and you're doing so by building different houses all over the southern Europe, basically. Rome, Italy, all the Mediterranean Sea. Basically, you're doing it around the Mediterranean, and you're trying to create pathways, and you're trying to get bonuses for having stuff all over the map, right? And so you will get points for however many houses you have. You'll get points for however many either men or vessels you have out there. You'll get points if you own different stuff from fabric to tools to brick to wine.
There's a ton of ways to score points.
There's a lot of ways to score points, but that's pretty much it. Like the graphics on the game and everything are not that great, and like I don't know, it wasn't exciting to me. Like as soon as I saw the box the first time, I was like, no, no. But I really do love Kent and Courtney. They are some of my favorite people. So I decided to keep playing, or I decided to play because I felt bad because Kent's like, it's one of my top 10 games of all time, and that hurt hearing that because it really hurt my opinion of Kent Parker because the game is so dumb. And it's not dumb. It's just simple. It's like I didn't care. And I didn't score terribly. I scored 90
It's so
points.
funny because like
between me, you, and Jordan, Matt,
you guys,
it was pretty good, but I did not care.
Like it's like Kent keeps being like, Rob, try this game. Rob, try this game. And he's been creeping you into like Euro. Check out this Euro. Check out this Dryer game. Check out this beautiful Euro with amazing tokens and amazing stuff.
Dry Euros I've ever
and then
played.
he's like, here, play Concordia. And Rob's like, there's the line right there. You have crossed it at this point.
I crossed it for friendship. But that was his one. That was his one for like the rest of his life. Like if I say no, no means no. So anyway, so we played it. It's nothing special or great, and it's not fast enough. Like
we were also
Century
playing
Spice Road.
5.
You could retheme it to whatever you want it to be. Essentially, you know, it's just
Right.
picking up cues. But what I think I like about that is you can play a full game of that in under 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, like I played with Roy before. We played 2-player. We were done in like 15, 20 minutes.
That's
You know, you're just
why
going
I
faster,
like
picking up
those
stuff.
like Euro games when they're super quick and the turns are like nothing, you know, and it's just like smooth.
Like that I like. And the component quality. Now, I will say this. Concordia did have good component quality. The bricks look cool. The hay, the tools also. I mean, that stuff looked cool. But the board itself was worse than Ethnos board. It was super plain. And some of the cards have a lot of text on them.
Board.
So if you're trying to read the card, it had a lot going on. But it was very lackluster. Like, I would not ask it to prom at all. So it just wasn't my thing. But I played Concordia. And I really want to play Q&E. But back to the original question, I would love to play Q&E. I want to try to bid up into the billions for some reason.
I was about to say, we've got so many games to talk about. I thought we were past Q&E at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, until I played like 17 games.
Well, I guess we could talk about a game that all of us played. I played it a lot less than you guys, but...
Is that Human Punishment?
Oh,
Yeah, Matt, since you own this game, tell us about Human Punishment and how that works.
Did your copy come in yet, Matt?
No.
Oh,
My
okay,
copy
so you're
hasn't
paying
come-
somebody else's copy.
Kent's
No,
copy.
Adam bought Ken's copy.
Oh, crazy.
I backed it on Kickstarter because it's coming out with an expansion. But Human Punishment is kind of like Good Cop, Bad Cop, if you played that, or if you haven't played Leaders of Euphoria. I mean, yeah, but there's more stuff going on. It's a bit more complicated.
But it is
you have,
very much like
it's the
Good Cop,
exact
Bad
same
Cop.
as hell. Yeah. So yeah, basically you're just playing one of 5 different factions. You can either be a human, a machine, an outlaw, a fallen, or a legion player. You have an ID card, which gives you an association with one of those factions, or outright tells you have to play as one of those factions, which has a special power if it gets flipped over and revealed. You'll have 2 ID cards, not ID cards, loyalty cards off to the side, which will give you a bit more information on where your loyalties lie. And then you'll have a programming card, which is usually just like a special effect card that you can play to maybe make somebody drop a gun, or 2 different things. You can swap roles. You can do a whole lot of other different things with them. There's a lot of really weird
And they're
stuff
super powerful,
those do.
but
they're very
it's
strong.
weird because you could sometimes get one that's just like, it's scrap, it does literally nothing.
Yeah, or you can sometimes draw one that literally changes your loyalty. Like you could draw one that says, "Hey, you're now a human player. You cannot discard this card," and you're like, "Huh? Oh, good, neat."
And there was about to be a check, and all the other humans were dead. So you're like, oh, I was about to win as the machine, but now I'm human.
Yep, and which it makes really interesting scenarios that I think are very fun. Which is why I liked it so much. But basically, you have one action on your turn. You can look at somebody else's loyalty card, you can pick up a new program, or you can pick up a gun and point it at somebody. And that's pretty much it. So you just go around trying to get as much information as you can on the other people to figure out who's with you or who's against you. If you're a human, you have to kill the machines and the outlaws. If you're an outlaw, you have to be the last man standing. If you are a machine, you have to kill all the humans. If you're a Legion player, you have to kill everybody who isn't Legion. And if you're a Fallen, you have to kill everybody who isn't Fallen. Pretty much that.
I played for a very short amount of time because I went all in on Rob, which wasn't necessarily the wrong thing to do, but Rob played a card that's like, hey, any damage you take, the other player takes it as well. So I was like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for the good of the team. And I killed myself, and then Rob had a special power that allowed him to come back into the game. So it's just like, wait, what? I died shooting you, and then you come back. It's like if you want social deduction with like piles of powers and zaniness thrown on, this is your game, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think any of there are some cards that are very powerful, but I don't think there's a lot of other cards that mitigate a lot of that randomness, and like there are counters and things that can make people drop guns and stuff like that. But you have to have sort of forged a bond with somebody and hope that they have that card so that they can protect you if somebody's targeting you with some specific stuff. Yeah, like Rob just said in chat, it's very much a gamer's social deduction game. Like, it's not something that you can bust out at like a party with some casual friends or like a church meetup.
Yeah, not something I would do as well. And it was
definitely
fun.
A con game.
It was fun for our group because a lot of times we had a good amount of people, 6+. And so it worked for us, but it's not like my favorite social deduction.
I don't think you can take it like that seriously, though.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't take it that seriously.
Yeah, I don't know, because stuff changes in that game so fast. Like, it's very fluid as to what team you're on, because, like, you could be on the machine team, and then somebody plays a card that swaps one of your cards that they looked at with somebody else's card that they looked at. And so now you know that you're not a machine anymore, and the person who swapped it probably knows that you're not a machine anymore. And now you're trying to figure out, okay, well, so whose team am I on now? And it's a little confusing, but as long as you're sort of paying attention to everything that's going on the board and like reading people, it's pretty straightforward, I feel like. Other than the programming cards, that's where the stuff gets a little wild.
Social deduction, the shell game, where it's like, okay, well, that card was there, now it's over there, but then their card was there, now it's over there, and then he got an extra card that I don't know that he has, so he's technically on that team, even though all his other cards point a different way, Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I think we played it with Crystal for a short period of time. I don't think she liked it because she was sort of sitting around going, I have a really bad memory and I don't remember any of this stuff. And I was
I'm actually good at that stuff, but
probably not the game for you because we were only playing with like 5 to I think 7 or 8 at like the biggest we ever got, but it plays up to 16. So, but how Kent was saying, when you play it at 16, instead of one player getting 2 loyalty cards, there's a loyalty card between you and your adjacent neighbor on either side, and you guys share that loyalty card, which is kind of interesting too. So I would love to see it play with a higher player count. I don't know. For me, it's probably in my top 3 or top 5 social deduction games because I really enjoy it. Yeah. I really enjoyed playing it. I think it was a hoot. The card art is spectacular. It's probably Deception and either Hell Hydra or maybe Secret Hitler, but I'd probably put Hell Hydra above Secret Hitler. Yeah, I think it's probably Deception, Hell Hydra, Human Punishment for me.
See, I like Crossfire better, like overall.
Oh man.
I've only played one game of Crossfire, and I didn't. It went so fast, I didn't really get a good feel for what was.
Yeah, Crossfire is not a game you can play one time.
Yeah, I think I played it last year at Dice Tower Con because Emerson was there, so we just played a quick game of Crossfire, and then we ended up playing something else. And I was just
it's cool,
fun.
Neat. It's fun.
That was that game. Yeah.
And I enjoy playing it. I'm not trying to down it. It's just for like outside of the con. Never play that game. Absolutely. Just because a lot of times when I play with people, I'm playing with new people or people that aren't gamers. And so if I'm asking people to remember who they are, but it may change, and to also remember where the cards go, they're going to be like, so let's play something else. But anyway, so that was Human
Yeah.
Punishment was a good game. It was a lot of fun.
Chat was asking what mine and Rob's favorite social deduction game is. I know Rob answered in the chat, but we could also talk about it on the podcast. I think most people know, like, Deception is mine.
I like Deception as my generic overall number one because I have gotten non-gamers to play it and then play it repeatedly because they're like, wow, oh, can I be the scientist? Oh, I can be that. But I'm really digging, like, for me, my gamers game, and it's not even so much gamers game, but like nerdy game is Hail Hydra. I just think it's better when people are fans of the theme.
Yeah.
So like they'll use their character stuff because I've played Hail Hydra before with people that were really into it and they got into their characters, and I played it with people who just treated it like a social deduction shell, like you had said earlier. It was like,
for me, Hail Hydra is like it might be my number 2, but I've only played it once, and then another game that I've only played once. Well, I played it twice. I've played Hail Hydra twice, game, right? And then I've also played the Oathbreaker game twice, which is the Game of Thrones game. And I need to play both of those more times to figure out where they fit in what I like. I mean, I liked One Night Ultimate Werewolf a lot, but I played that game so much that I don't even know if I need to play it anymore.
Yeah.
You ever get that point in a game where it's just like, I've played it. It's like
I could probably bust it out at parties with people who haven't played it, but I do.
Human Punishment?
Like no, like One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Oh, One Night, yeah.
I might be able to pull Human Punishment out with a group of my friends, maybe.
Like my social deduction game that I really don't care to pull out anymore is like maybe like a Resistance.
Yeah, because that's just fighting with each other.
I mean, that's really game. It is. But anyway, so that was. I mean, those are my two. What are your? Roy, did you say yours is also Deception, Murder in Hong Kong?
I mean, my first by far. Like, I feel like it's not even close.
It's
in between
just so
second
good.
And first.
So complete.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, it's not even fair because like the whole aspect of the forensic scientist is just such a good aspect in that social deduction game, but it doesn't add complexity really.
It only gets harder the more people you play. I think Deception, that sweet spot is anywhere between 8 and 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once you get more than 12...
I've even played it with lower player counts, and some of those games can't go down to lower player counts, but you can, in theory, play Deception with like less. I played it with like 4 before and actually had fun.
I think the lowest I played was like 6. 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But anyway...
But that was with non-gamers, so maybe playing at lower player counts with non-gamers is okay because they won't be able to find the murder as quickly, you know.
Well, in my low player count, the 5 or 6 game was actually also with non-gamers, and it did help them because they weren't having to overthink it too much.
Right.
You know, I haven't never played a game like that. So it definitely worked. Definitely worked. Oh, man. Did you get to play any... not social deduction games. Any building games. Matt, help me out here. Dexterity games. Dexterity games. Did you play any dexterity games, Roy?
Dexterity. No.
Matt and I did.
It was like tons. This is the dexterity game con for us. I feel like.
I only played 2. Did you play more than 2?
Yeah, I played more than 2.
Did you also play Meeple Circus on that?
No, I played.
I played Meeple Circus. Meeple Circus is fun.
I bought it and was gonna play it, but I ended up playing Catch the Moon instead.
Yeah, oh man, I wanted to play Catch the Moon. Yeah. That's the one with the ladders and stuff.
Yeah, that game feels weird to play because you're like, you start putting the ladders in, and you're like, all right, this will hold, and then all of a sudden everything shifts, and you're like, oh goodness, all right.
I told you guys that. I said that I thought you guys would like that game a lot.
I put it on my cool stuff wish list after you had mentioned that in the podcast. Simple. And it's super straightforward. Like literally, I went by the who was the gorilla game company?
Colossal Games.
Colossal Games.
Yes, Colossal. I went by their booth just to see what they had, and the guy demoed. Or people were playing Meeple Circus, so I was sort of watching what was going on. And then he was just like, yo, man, you want to play this Catch the Moon game really quick? I'm like, sure. So we literally just played a game in like 2 minutes, maybe 3. Like, it was so easy to teach, and I just popped in, and I was like, okie doke. And then I looked at the price, and I was like, hey, I'll take it. Let's go.
How much was it?
It was like $25 at their booth.
That's not that bad.
Awesome.
Like you could have got it from Cool Stuff for like $23, but I was like, it's $2. Who cares? You know?
I help the people. We also played Tournament of Towers. Jordan. Brought a copy of Tournament of Towers.
Really fun.
Tournament of Towers was surprisingly fun. Not that I was like, oh crap, this is gonna suck, but the 2-stage build of like, all right, here's what you build stage 1. Now build on top of that stage 2. See how high you can get it, how many gold pieces. And the gold pieces are like so obscure and abstract. They like you can't build off of them. So you're trying to build little platforms off on the side to put gold pieces, because you get a point per gold piece. Tournament of Towers, that was fun. And then at the end, you have this little architect, and you have to put him on your tower. It doesn't have to be at the top, but he has to be somewhere where he can fit on your tower. That's not on the base.
I think my favorite thing is it also is a drafting game, so you get this hand of part cards, and then you pick which one you want for your tower, and you pass it around. So you can go super greedy and choose a bunch of the golden ones that are point cards, but then you'll have to try and figure out how to get them to work on your tower. Or you can
it's
try
also a programming game, because then before you can start building, you got to lay them out.
Figure out which order you want to put them in.
So
there were a couple of times. Yeah, because the card will tell you the height and the width of the item and how big it is. And there were a couple of times I didn't pay attention to it, and I pick up something that I'm thinking will be kind of big, and it's like, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
This would be a base for like the next level.
Yep. So, but that was a lot of fun. I'd probably pick that up at some point.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I did enjoy Tournament of Towers. I also like Men at Work.
Oh yeah, Men at Work.
From Pretzel Games, Plan B Game Studio, Men at Work. Same color concept as Junk Art, same company. But Men at Work is kind of crazy. Courtney just killed everybody at Men at Work. Because you're literally building a tower going up, and you get these 3 certificates of like inspector certificates. So if nobody gets hurt, if somebody gets hurt, regardless if it's 1 piece or 100 pieces, you have to turn in a certificate. And so it allows you to do that so the game keeps going, because eventually somebody's going to get hurt. And what it means by getting hurt is there's going to be an accident on the job. Either a character's going to fall off, or a brick or a beam or a support structure or something. Well, Courtney, man, I don't know if she was tired of the game, but at this one point, she just knocked down, like, we started all over, basically. There were so many people on there, and they all just fell, and they just fell to their deaths. And it was really intense. And then sometimes, like, you got to put beams on top of guys, but you can't touch their helmets. And so it reminded me a little bit of Tokyo Highway, where you're building the different paths. But it was a lot of fun. I like the components. I like the hard hats and the guys. And so that was fun. That was probably my favorite. And I'm also going to say it's my favorite because I bought it. Just to justify the money aspect of it. But
I kept trying to put stuff in my cart at Cool Stuff so I could go pick it up the next day, because Men at Work was just always in my cart after I played it, but I couldn't find anything else that I wanted enough to justify just buying just it. So,
but then Nick. So we're playing Men at Work, and like everything's like super sensitive, and Nick just comes walking up. He's like, "Hey guys," and he acts like he's about to throw his book bag on the table. And I'm like, no! I immediately stopped and yelled at him. And so Nick, I apologize for yelling. But he didn't do it. He was just...
The troll extreme.
Pretty good.
But anyway, yeah. So
that's awesome.
Was it for dexterity games? Kind of. I feel like I had a really good con game-wise. I felt like I played a lot of good games that I really enjoyed. That's awesome. I'm kind of scared to say I enjoyed it as much as I did. It was definitely a top 3.
Concordia.
What's that?
Concordia's not on the list.
Oh wait, are we allowed to talk about that? I guess not.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that game.
Family friendly. I mean, I guess.
Oh man. Oh, that's the game though.
But see, here's the thing. I didn't even know what was going on.
We'll save that for the 29th.
And then I'm like, oh. But anyway, no. So what do you guys want to talk about next? Now you have all flustered.
So So I played Wiz War. I have this copy of Wiz War that I 3D printed a ton of stuff out for. So I talked Kent and Courtney and Matt to coming down the first night that I was. It wasn't the first night, but it was like one of the early nights that I was there, and coming down and playing Wiz War with me, and that was a lot of fun. Then I ended up playing it again with a bunch of just random people. I was like, set up Wiz War, putting a player's wanted sign, just gonna play with whoever comes. And it was cool, so I got to play with a couple fans and just random people, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Wiz War's just, I mean, it's
a classic.
Matt was like, it was one of the fastest games against Courtney and Kent. I mean, I don't know if Kent was even in that game.
Ridiculous fast.
Courtney just wrecked everyone. But
Kent just ran in and took my treasure on turn 1, so I'm trying to stop him, and I'm just like, hey, and we're just throwing spells back and forth, and we're both sort of on low health, and Courtney just comes in, picks up a treasure, kills me, and then runs back to her base and's like, is that the game? We're like, that's the game. She's like, neat.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I 3D printed out like treasure chests for everything, and then all these walls. But it's kind of interesting in that game with the 3D printed walls. I like it a lot because you can just like take out one of the big walls and put it in a little wall, and it's like, it's blown up.
Oh, yeah.
Because the walls change so much in that game. The only part that sucks is when you rotate a sector. So I might have to play with less rotating sectors, but rotating sectors are so fun, so maybe not. I just have to deal with it when it happens. Or magnetize all the little things.
I was going to say, yeah, just magnetize it, or like cut the walls in half, so you can just put it on like half the board and then twist it.
Yeah. It's good stuff though. But yeah, the second game I played was a lot of fun too. It's one of those
classics.
It was very back and forth and tons of crazy. We played with the Hex. The Totems faction, or the Totems like deck. And so there were just these totems. I hadn't really played with that one that much, but there were just totems all over the board. And they just gave people that were in those, or the owner in that sector, like just special abilities, or damaged other people that went in those sectors. So it was kind of interesting because they're like traps that affect the entire sector. It was just a lot of fun just because I hadn't really played with them much. So it's crazy how many times I played that game and still get to play with new things and see new combos.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, and then I don't necessarily have to go again. Somebody else can say something. You guys played a ton of stuff.
Well, I was gonna ask if you saw anybody playing Black Rose Wars while you were there.
I heard people mention it, but I don't know that I saw it.
Didn't Jordan play that?
Yeah, Jordan played it and said he really liked it and was talking to me about it. And then the table sort of behind us when we were playing Concordia, I was playing it for a small bit, and it looks similar to Wiz War, but like there's more going on.
Oh, crazy!
And yeah, it just looks super interesting. They have like crazy minis and stuff, so
That's awesome.
I want to see if I can try to find it, get a play or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Wiz War is only like older than I am, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I'm sure somebody has re-implemented it and made it better. I mean, there's tons of games that are very like wizard versus wizard battles, you know. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Well, one game that Matt and I played that we also played with, actually just Kent. Matt, myself, and Kent played. I bought this game. I didn't mean to buy the game, but I broke the plan, so I bought the game. And we played Mountains of Madness.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did not know anything about Mountains of Madness. Did not realize how silly it was or anything.
It's definitely silly.
Literally, Kent just sat it down and he was like, "Hey, have you guys ever played this?" And I was like, "No." And he opened it up and showed us the components. And then I broke the plane and I was like, "Hey, so let's play it." And I bought it. And so I ended up really liking it. And in fact, I got to super glue that plane this week. But Mountains of Madness, you are at the base of a mountain and you are trying to make it to the very top, and then not just make it to the top but also escape the mountain. You and your team are working cooperatively to try to defeat the obstacles of the mountain. There's multiple different obstacles. One is a crate, one is a pistol, one is a rope, and one is like a pickaxe. And when you flip over something, it's going to say, like, let's say crate, it'll say between like 6 and 10, or the pistol will say between like 5 and 8, right? And so out of the 4 options, 2 are typically on the card. And you're not allowed to talk to each other or tell each other what you have until somebody flips over the timer. And then once they flip over the timer, that's when you're allowed to talk. And you can't go over, you can't go under. And if somebody puts down a card, so you're on a bobsled, and as soon as one person puts down a card on the bobsled, you have to quit talking. So you don't want to put any cards down as your group until you are done coming up with your strategy, right? Mm-hmm. And if you ever, accidentally put down the wrong card and you still win, it doesn't matter. You lose that card. So, like, once you play a card, it's lost. And then it comes with these poker chips, and it gives you, like, not redos, but it allows you to keep playing. You get, like, 3 or 4 poker chips in the game. And so if you do make a mistake or if you do lose the turn, you play a poker chip, and then you get, like, a madness thing or something like that. And some of the stuff that you find, not even losing, just some of the stuff you find, the card itself may say, oh, you found this artifact. Well, finding this artifact does 2 madness, so pick up this card and take this condition. Well, some of the conditions, right, are like Matt had one where his condition was anytime anything, right before we were to play our cards on the bobsled, he had to look underneath the table. So I had no idea Matt's got this card, and all of a sudden he just starts ducking underneath the table. And I'm like, what in the heck is Matt doing? And he's just laughing, and then Courtney's laughing, and Kent's laughing, and I'm like, what? And then Matt gets another one, and his thing is to yell anytime somebody says the word crate.
Yep.
I'm sitting beside Matt, and I had no idea Matt had this card. And Matt's not a quiet person. And so we're playing the game, and all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, I've got 3 crate. Ah! Just really loud, just out of nowhere. I'm like, crap, what is happening? And so I come to figure out later, Matt had a card. Anytime
so
somebody
it felt like
crate,
the other players were actually insane.
Yeah.
Well, and I ended up getting a madness card where I wanted to talk. I had to rub somebody's face. And so I just look at Matt and I'm like, I apologize. He's like, what? So as I'm talking, just stroking his beard, as I'm talking, trying to get stuff done.
Yeah, Jordan's sitting in a video and Rob's just like, so anyway, we're looking at, I've got like 5 crates and I'm just like, whoa! And then I can't talk, so I'm just sitting there just like doing hand signs and Rob's just rubbing me.
And Matt's yelling, I'm rubbing him. Stuff is happening. So it was a lot of fun. I never played that game before. I got a great deal on it. So if anybody wants to play,
I've never played, but I knew it had all the silliness of you get the madness cards and it forces you to do crazy stuff to get up the mountain.
It was a lot of fun. We ended up beating it, but it was just it was a happy surprise. Like,
nice.
Didn't expect it. Didn't anything. It was like like the craziness. Sometimes you got to do like Tada or some of those other games where like you flip the card, you got to do something silly. It was like a co-op of that, but I think a little meatier. And so, speaking of craziness, on a side note, I actually got an email today from the people at Throw Burrito.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I just got my tracking number. They're 2 months ahead of schedule, and they're going to start shipping our games this week.
That's insane.
So I am super excited to start chunking burritos at people.
Those Chinese kids sewing up those
that
burritos.
That would have been a really good one for Dice Tower Con,
That would have been a lot of fun for Dice Tower Con.
That'd have been fast.
But so anyway, so that was Mountains of Madness. But it was a fun game, fun game.
I think my favorite part about Mountains of Madness was the fact that Kent is just very dry, and he's like, "Have y'all seen this game before?" And we're like, "No." And he's like, "All right, so it's a game sort of Eldritch Horror-y type of thing. We're going up a mountain. We're trying not to go crazy. We're trying to do these things, get to the top, find the thing, get out." And we're like, "All right, cool." And when you look at the artwork, it doesn't look crazy. It looks very sort of bleak.
So we had no idea.
Straightforward. And then I take a Madness card, and the first thing it is like, hey, there are scary things in the world, and you got to be sure there are none under the table anytime you play a card. I'm like, oh, what? Huh? This is so stupid. And then it just progressively kept getting more out of control, and that was pretty great.
And I do think it does help with Kent not preparing us whatsoever.
He knew what he was doing.
So anyway, but it was a good time. It was a good time.
Good time.
That's awesome.
Did you play anything else, Roy?
I mean, I've got a bunch that I could go over.
I played one of the ones I want to talk about. I actually played this one with Matt as well. Is Res Arcana.
Oh yeah!
So this is a game where you're racing to get 10 points, but it's made by the same designer as Race for the Galaxy. It has lots of iconography, but it's not nearly as bad as Race for the Galaxy. But this is a game where you're trying to like collect different elemental resources and then also spin those resources to figure out ways to get victory points. You're going to have a hand of cards. And normally when you play the game, after your experience, you'll be drafting the cards that are in your deck. But before that, you'll just be getting like some of the starter cards or whatever. And I don't know. I thought there were a lot of cool different cards you can use to like min-max gathering resources and spinning those resources to do different things. You also have like a card. And the thing I love about this game is that it's just one of those games where it's like all the actions you take are one thing and it's super quick. Next player's turn, you know. I love those Euro-y type games that are like resource things and moving things around and engine building things that are just like super quick. Like you do a thing, next person goes. Now you do a thing, the next person goes. But it was a lot of fun. It was kind of interesting because you're trying to get just to 10 victory points. So there's not a whole lot of things that'll give you victory points. But there are like these, I don't remember what they were called. What were the like big cardboard things that you're trying to get out there called, Matt? Do you know? But there were big cards that were
areas.
Yeah, there were different areas you could try to win, but they were like specifically to gain like victory points, but they were very like engine buildy because it was like they had several abilities on them that could maybe give you a bunch of resources, or you could like exhaust them to put like pay that a certain type of resource and put like a gold on it, which would count for a point at the end of the game. And at any time, if you wanted to, you could take resources off of the cards in play, but sometimes having them on there would trigger victory points or different things like that. So it was definitely a cool game. I really want to play it again with the drafting aspect of it. Yes. But this is one that I want to try again for sure because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because it plays very much like any like Century Spice Road or Crystal Golem, and that you have your hands of cards and you're playing them down to get resources, and you're using those resources to buy things that give you victory points. But it's got way more meat on it. You only start with 8 cards, and you don't really get many more.
Do you?
Because I think I might have.
I think you just go through your deck over and over again. You can discard your deck. You can discard your cards to get resources or something like that.
Well, like I think I ended up getting some different ones in my deck, and I can't remember how I did it. Because I know I had one card that would let me destroy ones just to get a bonus for what they cost or something. I don't remember. But yeah, you're just trying to play these cards, build your tableau a bit to get your things going. And it was a lot of fun.
There's not a whole lot of player interaction, but some of the cards will like you gain 3 of this resource, but every other player gains 1. Or like these dragon cards are like everybody has to discard some of this resource type. If they have this type of card, they could block it. But it was pretty interesting overall, and it's just really just quickly building your engine, trying to race to those points. And I was sad I couldn't win the game a turn order or earlier, but then Kent's like, can't catch up.
Meanwhile, I'm like 4 points behind. Like, hey, maybe I can make a run for it in 2 turns. And Roy's like, I should have ended it last time.
I should have ended it last time, but I guess I'll end with 12 instead of 10.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun.
It was a good game. I definitely played it again.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what else, Rob? What do you think should be talked about?
All right, so I will go through my top 3 games of the con.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the first one I did not play at the con, but I played the week that I was there. And I'll make it real quick because I know you guys aren't necessarily into this game, but I played Axis and Allies versus Zombies. And I got to play with my dad and my brother. Love Axis and Allies, and I love the stupidity of adding the zombies. It adds a whole new element to the game. It was crazy, and the zombies wrecked me at one point because my brother just did this I thought was a stupid strategy at the time, and I was like, I can't believe you're doing that, because he basically sacrificed his whole army. Because in the game, anytime an infantryman dies, they immediately become a zombie, and so you may be fighting another army, but then you're going to have to fight the zombies again after that battle if they had any infantrymen in them, because on your side or their side they become zombies. Well, he takes his entire infantry army and he just throws them at my tanks, and the tanks hit really well, and so his infantry missed, but then they all turned into zombies, and it completely locked down Eastern Europe for me. And I was just like, suck. So there was like this huge just wall of zombies in Eastern Europe. So it stopped the Germans. Like the Germans, I had to go like up north and go around this big wall. But like 3/4 of my way of getting into Russia was just now stopped, and it bought him time, and he was able to rebuild up on his guys because I killed all of his guys at the beginning, but I couldn't kill the zombies. So that was my number 3 game of the con, Axis and Allies Zombies. And it was also fun because I got to play with my dad and my brother. I haven't played a game with them in years.
Yeah.
So that was a fun experience. But anyway,
Yeah.
you guys have anything else? Because I've got, well, 2 more, obviously.
Yeah, we all have mountains. I mean, I played that one game that I talk about too many times. Heroes of Land, Air, and
Yeah, I'm not
Sea.
talking about any games
I
I've
like
played
that game.
before.
It's fun. I didn't play too many other new games. What else did I play that was new? I mean, Adam's version of Werewolf was definitely new. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I did finally play Scythe, even though it's not a top 3.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I did finally play Scythe. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad.
I hope not.
So, I mean, I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Do you have anything you want to add, Matt?
The last one that I want to talk about that I feel like we haven't spoken on before, I actually got to play Dinogenics.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a game that I wanted to play, and I'm going to back it. It was real good.
So I mean, what made you like this game over Dinosaur Island? And I mean, I know they are very similar themes, and they they look a little bit similar. Like you have like pins and things like that. What's the differences that make you love this?
They do look similar, and they do somewhat play kind of similar. But the thing is, the placement of your things actually matters. So in Dinosaur Island, you just sort of go, hey man, we got a dinosaur, here's a pin, we put it down, doesn't matter where, we put some dinosaurs in it, people show up to look at it, hooray! Maybe you buy some concession stands or whatever, does it matter where you put those? No, it doesn't. You just put them down. But in Dinogenics,
there's
the
no
concession
adjacency combos in Dinosaur Island.
Yeah. And there's not really anything quite like that in Dinosaur Island, but there are, the way the building works.
You mean Dinogenics?
Is some of them go, yeah, Dinogenics, sorry. The way it works is you sort of build in the people half of the park or the dinosaur half of the park. And so if you're building the dinosaur half, you build these fences to create these pins. And so the pins, its size can hold certain dinosaurs. Like a Brontosaurus doesn't want to be caged in at all, and if it is, it'll get mad, run around, stampede, blow stuff up. A T-Rex needs like a space of 3, and you can only place 1 meeple on a square. So you're trying to sit here and manage how you want to build your park. And so you're like, okay, well, I've got a couple of T-Rex cards in my hand, so I might be able to go for it, but I need to actually build a pen that will house it without it rampaging and destroying some buildings or eating some people. I don't know. There's just... I actually felt like I was building a park, even though there are a decent number of similarities in how they play. I do just like Dinogenics just a little bit better because of it mattering what you do with your park when you build it, as opposed to just being how Dinosaur Island feels to me, which is just like sort of a Euro with flashy colors and dinosaurs thrown in. Dinogenics actually feels like you're constructing a park and you're trying to figure out, based off the hand that you have and what's on the board, what you should be going for. Should you be going for, this dinosaur, which might be a bit more of a risky play and might cause you to have an accident, which will get you a token that's worth -6 points at the end of the game, or if you should be kind of going for some of the smaller ones, or what you should be sort of doing. I really liked it.
It's okay. Yeah. You're allowed to.
That was the thing Rob was telling me, because I was telling him about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, it sounds a lot like Dinosaur Island." I was like, "Well, it sort of is. I just like it better."
Yeah.
And aren't there like event cards in Dinogenics too?
Yes, there are event cards that come out. Thanks for reminding me. So each round, there's an event card, and then there's you get to see what's upcoming. So there will be an upcoming event for next round, so you can see it ahead of time, so you can prepare. So like one of the first rounds, all of the events are sort of like news stories, which I think is really a cool theme. But like the first round one was, you could send somebody to that area to go digging through the boneyard, which would be, sort of, it was bad for your reputation, but you got more dinosaur DNA out of it. I think the news story was something like, are people stealing out of the boneyards of other people's parks a moral issue or whatever? But that was the first round, and then the very next round, they had something to where when you played a dinosaur out, you got to get rid of one of the scandal tokens that you had, which was super cool because I just went to the place previously and got a scandal token for digging through other people's trash, basically. And then I got to play the dinosaurs that I got out of the trash and then got rid of my tokens. So it was cool that you got to see what was coming.
So
and then
Matt
some
built a
things were like,
Trashosaurus.
yeah. And then there were some things that would like cause dinosaurs to rage more frequently, or some other stuff. Like, I don't know. It's really interesting. I enjoyed it. There's a lot going on in the game, so it's hard to go through, I feel like. And
I know in Dinogenics you can make like mutant dinosaurs as well, right?
yeah, that's what Jordan did. Jordan taught me the game, and he went an all mutant strategy. So like the dinosaurs are herbivores or carnivores, except for the mutants, which are omnivores. So the herbivores, you don't have to worry about feeding; they just hang out and do their own thing. The carnivores, though, you have to feed goats.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise they get mad and rage. And so you can get some goats off the board, but one guy had a building that just gave him a goat around, so he was just like, "Yo, what's up, my goat farm?" And I was just like, "Hey, that's." But then the mutants are interesting because you don't have to feed them, but if you feed them, they'll multiply. So you'll feed a mutant, and then another mutant shows up, and you're like, "Okay, cool." Don't know how that happened. So that's basically what Jordan did. Jordan was just like, all right, we got 1, we got 2, we got 2, we got 4, we got 4, we got 8, here we go. And so he was just piled up his entire place with mutants, which don't do a whole lot for like your appeal or your reputation. So not a whole lot of people are coming to see these weird abominations of dinosaurs, but they do score some points. So he took off kind of in the mid game in like a really strong lead once he got a bunch of mutants out. And then some people had played some cards on him that made his strategy a little less good. And he ended up not clinching the victory in the end. But it was just really interesting to watch his park just sort of slowly fill up with these gray, crazy-looking dinosaurs. I think one of my favorite parts is you have these other cards that you can play that are just sort of like... I can't even remember what they're called. But he played one that was like a private showing, so I just like the theme that he was just showing off his park of mutants to the Department of Defense or whatever. He's like, so this one over here has got a machine gun on it. People don't like to look at it, but it's really good at killing people. And it got him a lot of money or points something that round, and it was just like, all right, cool. So that's what he's doing. We're all cool making parks with dinosaurs for the kids, and he's over here just creating weapons.
Your main complaint for Dinosaur Island was that you didn't feel the theme and it didn't come out with these things, but it seems like this game switches over with all these other cards and lets you feel like you're doing crazy actual dinosaur park building things. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Definitely. And even with Dinosaur Island, I didn't think it would take that much of a change to
give you that feel.
Yeah. And I think Dinogenics does it very well. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, Rob.
Next game on my list, Wingspan. I finally played Wingspan.
Rob loves birds now.
It's not that I love birds, but I'll
They're delicious.
Wingspan a billion times over before playing Concordia. But it was a lot of fun, and it was similar in the way that you are trying to build an engine. What I really liked about Wingspan, multiple things. One, the artwork and the components. It's a really well-built game. I love that the dice tray is actually a birdhouse. And then with the little eggs and stuff like that, and the art on the cards. And not just the art on the cards, but, for example, the cards would tell you how big the bird was, because Matt had this one bird that you look at the top card on the deck, and if it's a bird with this wingspan or smaller, eat that bird.
Yeah.
And so, I liked how it gave you a little bit more about the birds. But the artwork was beautiful. The components, the egg quality, the trays was really great. And I actually really like the game and how it played out, where you are basically programming your tray. Where if you play a bird down, you're gonna always go to the farthest left and work your way to the right. Um, but as you play a bird in certain areas, if you already have birds there, then their action kicks off. Or you may have a bird that has a special power where when somebody else does something on their turn, like if they lay eggs or go to if you make another bird, if you lay eggs, or if you go to like the lake or whatever. So anytime I would ask people, "Oh, did you just do this? Great, I get a bird, or I don't get a bird. I get an egg and stuff like that." And so, I know Matt's talked about the game in the past, and so I won't go too much on it. But Wingspan was surprisingly good. It kind of took me for a loop on how much I liked it, and also how quick it was to learn. I think at the time, I don't know if Adam had played it before. I know I hadn't played it before. And so it was myself, Adam, Matt,
I wanted to play
Kent. Did we play 5?
Yeah, I think we played 5.
Did Jordan also play? Courtney?
I thought it was Courtney.
But I mean,
Jordan was playing Red Rose War.
Man, but it was a lot of fun. Not the greatest game ever. I don't care for the theme, but the theme worked. And the theme worked because of the components. Like, it made sense with the eggs and you're having to put stuff down. And so it was surprisingly a lot of fun. It's one of those games where if I saw people playing, I'd play it. I would definitely sit down and play it. And so not my favorite game ever, not my favorite Euro ever. But Wingspan was just a happy surprise.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, for me and Adam, it was our first play. And I think we played in about an hour and a half, if that.
I think it's funny because, like, every time someone was like, "Hey, we should play Wingspan," I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And then everybody else was like, "No, let's play something else." Like, even like the night before, they're like, "Res Arcana or Wingspan?" I'm like, "I like Wingspan, but okay, Res Arcana." Yeah. And then like when after we were done playing Werewolf, then we're like, "Oh, what should we play before Adam leaves?" And you guys were like, Wingspan," and Rob's like, "Nah." I'm like, I'm never gonna play that game.
Have you not played it before?
I have. I still have not played Wingspan. And I like, normally when the opportunity is presented, I'm like, yes, someone teach me Wingspan. It just never happens.
It was definitely. It doesn't
take long to play either. I just need to go to like the meetup group and be like, who brought Wingspan? Teach it to me.
Yeah. I wanted to play it with you,
so I can be done.
Every time it came up, I was just like, yeah, we should play Wingspan. And then people were like, we've already played Wingspan, so let's...
Well, that's basically what it was. I was like, yes, teach me.
It's a good game.
But it's quick, right? So...
Yeah.
Yeah, we played in an hour.
Yeah, so. Like, I think when I played it at Kent and Courtney's with Mark Hill. I mean, I think we played that game in like a half hour. Nice. Like, we knocked it. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Birds.
Well, it's not my number one game of the con, but it was definitely up there. It was number 2. Out of new games that I played, it was number 2. So. Nice.
Did you already say which one was your number 1?
No, I did not say my number 1. I can. My number 1, and I absolutely love this, and I know some people aren't going to like it, but I really love Nemesis. Really love Nemesis. Nemesis is, it's a game from Awaken Realms, who they still suck, in my opinion, but they're not as much on the fence. I'm not as rough on them there, because, anyway, Awaken Realms. So I played Nemesis, and Nemesis is where you guys all start off in the hibernation chamber. And at the very beginning of the game, you are given 2 objectives. One is corporate, and one is personal. And you don't pick your objective until the aliens start to coming out, right? This game is Alien the movie meets Dead of Winter the board game, with a little bit of other stuff thrown in there. But it's like all of the areas in the game outside of the hibernation pod. So there's a bunch of different rooms, but they're all turned face down. So you don't know where the stuff is that you need, because you have to go explore and reveal what they are. So it's got that fog of war style going on. But you're possibly all on the same team, or you're possibly not, depending on which cards you pick. And I love it because one of the cards, I think Kent's card, or not Kent, it was Kent's card. Kent's card, so when you're playing the game, everyone gets these little player plastic pieces that let you know what number you are because you do a draft and you just put out cards. And the draft only matters because it lets you know if you're player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that matters because Kent's card said you need to kill player 2 or be the last surviving member. And so that was Kent's objective. He needed to make sure player 2 was dead, or player 1. Player 1 was dead, or everybody was dead. Well, player 1 was Jordan. And so, like, Kent's trying to, like, make noise and do crazy stuff, and he's following Jordan around to make a lot of noise to attract aliens their way. And we're like, what in the heck are you doing? Like, I don't know what's going on. And my objective card was either make it to Earth or make sure everybody else died, and I was the only survivor. And that was just on my corporate card. Or no, the personal card. If I went corporate was like kill everybody and escape with an alien egg. I was like, crap. So the game is brutal, but here's what I love. Here's what I love about the game, and I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it does have player elimination, and to me that goes with this theme, because the theme is alien. I mean, you are trying to stop these aliens from taking over. It doesn't make sense that the ship would just keep respawning people, and so it's one of those games where if you die early, you could be out for a while.
Long time.
But I love that because it's not that I want to play every game that way, but it just helped me so much get into the theme. Like, no, I wanted to survive. I did not want to die. And I was mad when Kent finally became the alien and started just wrecking me. I mean, he sent alien after alien after alien, and I kept killing him. And finally he got me with a stupid face hugger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how he killed me, but I was wrecking. I killed 2 adults. I killed a crawler. I mean, I was doing what I can. Oh, and when you get attacked by the face huggers at first, you get this little card that lets you know if you're contaminated or not, and you have to get to this room and get the scanner to see if you're contaminated, because that means not only did the face hugger get on you, but then it planted an egg in you, and if you are contaminated, if another face hugger comes on you, that means that one in your chest pops out, and so that's what killed me. But I love this. No. You're doing all this different stuff to try to win the game, but are you on the same team? And then you got to find out, do the engines even work? So you're trying to go to the bottom of the ship to go to the engine room to see if they work. And where we screwed up, having not played before, we saw our own objectives, and so we all kind of did our own thing.
Yep.
Which was terrible, because you do not need to separate from everybody else. You need to play like
we look at the cards.
Yeah, you need to definitely work together and then screw each other later on. But we were just like, screw this. I don't trust anybody. I'm going here. You're going there. But
I didn't trust it.
A lot of fun.
Man, Rob looked at his first card.
And it's one of those games, like, you put on that weird, eerie sci-fi music in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh,
but it was a lot of fun. It was a big game. I think we played for like 3+ hours on that game. And that was just the base stuff. I'm so happy that I backed it, because there's so much other stuff coming in with just the Kickstarter expansion stuff. Yeah. But Nemesis is my game. Just know, though, if you play it, it does have player elimination. So know that going into it, and also work with other players. Because if you work with other players, you won't die as quickly. So
also, the rules are really finicky and sort of weird, and the rule book is very strange.
And a lot of the secret objectives are like, make sure that one other player dies, isn't it?
Well, no, mine was make it to Earth. Like, make sure we either make it to Earth, or if we don't make it to Earth, I needed to survive while everybody else didn't. So essentially, my first goal is to make sure we make it to Earth, that we get the ship and we make it to Earth. But in case we didn't, because somebody else is sabotaging the ship, then it's like, okay, you got to make sure they're all dead. Kent clearly, straight out said, player 1 dies or everybody dies.
And the 2 cards I had a choice between didn't even have anything about player elimination. I just needed to explore all the rooms and send a signal, or grab an alien egg and send a signal.
I guess it's because I sat beside Kent and asked him how the game was going, and he's like, murder everyone. I'm like, okay, cool, it sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, and then we only
his objective was for people to die, and then he ended up being the alien
11
and causing people to
objective,
die.
or not 11. We saw like 5 objective cards. There's like close to 20 objective cards, and then the Kickstarter's got like a ton more coming in. And so it was just one of those things, man, where it was just, I really got into the theme, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it really works. And the rule book is finicky, But then at the same time, when you look at the rule book and you like read, it's like, oh, okay, that does make sense. So I think it was more finicky to us because it was our very first time ever playing.
Yeah.
But the more and more we play, the easier it will get, because it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, yep, no, that's a space token, because if you're making noise, it would make noise down the hall, not just in the doorway.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of our first things is when you're making noise, you don't necessarily put it on the door, but you put it on the corridor in between the rooms.
Yeah.
Well, that corridor, Roy, when you're making noise, you roll a dice, and it's an 8-sided die, but it's got 4 numbers on there, and then it's got like scratch marks or X's. If it's an X, nothing happens. You were silent. If it's a scratch mark, you put noise tokens all over the entire room. Or if it's a number, you put a noise token in the corridor that has that number. But some corridors have multiple numbers.
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets, kind of tough. It's like, crap, you don't want to fill that up. Because once a room gets full with the noise tokens, and if you roll another noise token, regardless, it immediately activates an alien in that area. Like they're immediately drawn to you.
Dang.
But man, Adam, I would definitely play again at Cabin Con, especially if you bring like your crazy sound stuff with you. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully, Awaken Realms will ship me my expansion stuff before Cabin Con. Who knows? It is still 2019, so they could wait a year or two. That is their history.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it did make me mad going through the ding and dent section of cool stuff and seeing people being able to buy Lords of Hellas for like $30.
Hey, just so you know, we had like
came in
six copies of Lords of Hellas in the Jack Bass and Worrell auction.
Yeah.
6.
And so anyway, but
But
it was a lot of